Israeli forces have advanced further into Gaza City, killing at least 21 Palestinians since dawn. Israeli forces have advanced further into the heart of Gaza City, forcing tens of thousands of Palestinians to flee toward the coastal roads and away from the city center. Among the displaced are malnourished children and critically ill patients who were ordered to move south as Israel seeks to tighten control over the city. Residents told Al Jazeera of relentless bombardments, with the Israeli military destroying entire neighborhoods. The World Health Organization has warned that Gaza's hospitals are on the brink of collapse. Since dawn, at least 21 Palestinians have been killed by Israeli troops. Zara Kafana, a displaced Palestinian mother, described the dire situation. "They dropped leaflets ordering us to leave. Now I have nowhere to go. I don't have a tent or anything. As you can see, we've been walking for 4 days. We are in the street now, with no tent, no shelter, nothing. I call on all relevant organizations to support and help us. We are exhausted. We are so very tired."
The U.S., on Thursday, vetoed a UN Security Council resolution calling for an immediate, unconditional, and lasting ceasefire in Gaza. 14 of the Council's 15 member states voted in favor of the measure, but Washington blocked its adoption. This marks the 6th time the U.S. has used its veto power since the start of Israel's war on Gaza.
Far-right Israeli Minister Bezalel Smotrich called Gaza a, quote, real estate treasure, unquote, on Wednesday, sparking outrage over his remarks. He said, quote, "There is already a working plan on President Trump's desk. We've finished the stage of demolition. Now it's time to build," unquote. Smotrich, a key figure in Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition, has repeatedly made incendiary statements about Palestinians, fueling concerns over Israel's long-term intentions in Gaza. A delivery driver transporting humanitarian aid from Jordan to Gaza opened fire on Israeli soldiers Thursday, killing at least 2 at the Allenby Bridge crossing into the occupied West Bank. The attacker, a civilian who had reportedly been delivering aid to Gaza for the past 3 months, was shot dead by Israeli forces shortly after the incident. Afghanistan has rejected former U.S. President Donald Trump's calls for Washington to retake control of Bagram Air Base. Trump made the remarks on Thursday during a press conference with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Trump said, "We would have kept Bagram, that big air base, one of the largest in the world. We gave it away for nothing. And we're trying to get it back, by the way. That might be breaking news. We're trying to get it back because they need us. We want to take that base back. One of the reasons we want it is that it's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons." On social media, Afghan Foreign Ministry official Zakir Jalal responded, "Afghanistan and the United States need to cooperate with one another without the U.S. maintaining any military presence in any part of Afghanistan." Trump threatens to revoke broadcasters' licenses over negative coverage. Former U.S. President Donald Trump has escalated his attacks on the media, threatening to revoke broadcasting licenses for networks that cover him negatively. His remarks came a day after ABC suspended Jimmy Kimmel's late-night show indefinitely, following threats from Federal Communications Commission Commissioner Brendan Carr over Kimmel's comments after the assassination of Charlie Kirk. The move sparked widespread backlash. Late-night host Stephen Colbert condemned the suspension of Kimmel's show as blatant censorship. On The Daily Show, Jon Stewart mocked the situation, calling himself the patriotically compliant host of what he jokingly referred to as the brand-new government-approved show. Jon Stewart said, "The bottom line is that our great administration has laid down very clear rules for free speech. Some pessimists might argue that this administration's concerns about free speech are nothing but a cynical ploy, a flimsy ruse, or a smokescreen to mask unprecedented consolidation of power and uniform intimidation, something entirely alien to the governance of a constitutional republic. Some might say that, but I don't agree. I think it's wonderful. Meanwhile, Democrats in Congress condemned Trump's threats and introduced legislation aimed at strengthening protections for individuals targeted over their political speech. Representative Greg Casar of Texas stated, "We are facing the greatest free speech crisis since the McCarthy era. The assassination of Charlie Kirk was a horrific crime, and it's clear Trump wants to exploit this tragedy to silence anyone who disagrees with him on any issue." Trump asked Supreme Court to issue an emergency order removing Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. Earlier this week, a federal appeals court rejected Trump's attempt to oust Cook ahead of a key Fed vote on cutting interest rates. This marks the first time in the Federal Reserve's 112-year history that a president has sought to remove a sitting governor.
At least 11 Democratic officials were arrested at ICE protests in New York City. In New York, at least 11 elected Democratic officials were arrested Thursday during a protest outside the notorious U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention facility at 26 Federal Plaza in Manhattan. The group had been demanding access to the facility. Meanwhile, a separate group of demonstrators held a peaceful sit-in to block access to the building's garage, which ICE uses to transport detained migrants. Those arrested included New York City Comptroller Brad Lander and public advocate Jumaane Williams.
Report: ICE placed more than 10,000 people in solitary confinement. A new report by Physicians for Human Rights, the Pillar Migration Lab, and experts from Harvard Law School has revealed that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, placed more than 10,000 people in solitary confinement between April 2024 and May 2025. The practice has surged significantly since Donald Trump's return to office. Migrants, including those suffering from severe physical and mental health crises, have been routinely isolated for days, weeks, and in some cases, months. The United Nations has described prolonged solitary confinement as a form of torture. Trump-appointed judge blocked the administration from immediately deporting at least 76 unaccompanied Guatemalan migrant children who were being held in U.S. government custody. Judge Timothy J. Kelly, a Trump appointee, rejected the Department of Homeland Security's claim that the deportations were intended to reunite the children with their parents, who allegedly requested their return to Guatemala. In his ruling, Kelly said the administration's arguments had completely collapsed, noting that there is no evidence before the court that the parents of these children sought their return. Officials in Trump's administration had attempted to carry out the deportations secretly in the middle of the night over the Labor Day holiday weekend.